If you've spent time in a major Western city, New York, London, Los Angeles, you know what homelessness looks like. People sleeping in doorways, tents under bridges, figures wrapped in blankets on subway grates. Now think about Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City has 10 million people. It is loud, dense, and fast-moving. And yet, if you walk around for a week, you will almost never see someone sleeping rough on the street. Why? That's what this video is about. Before we get into it, a clarification. Vietnam does have poverty, real poverty. Around 4 to 5% of the population still lives below the national poverty line. In remote highland areas, that number is much higher. And there are people sleeping on the streets, mostly in big cities, mostly older individuals or people with mental illness who have lost their family connections. But compared to countries with similar income levels, and even compared to wealthier countries, the number of visibly homeless people in Vietnam is remarkably low. So the question isn't whether poverty exists. It does. The question is, why doesn't it look the same? Reason 1. The family is the safety net. In most Western countries, when someone loses their job, their marriage, homeless shelters, the government steps in. Social security, unemployment benefits, homeless shelters. In Vietnam, the family steps in first. This isn't a policy, it's a deeply held cultural value that goes back centuries, shaped by Confucian philosophy and centuries of communal rice farming, where entire villages depended on each other to survive. The concept is called hio, filial piety, the idea that children have an obligation to care for their parents, and by extension, that family members take care of each other. Multi-generational households are still common here. A grandmother, her adult children, and her grandchildren all living under one roof. Not because they can't afford separate apartments, but because that's simply how it works. When someone falls on hard times, loses a job, gets sick, gets divorced, the default is not to find a shelter. The default is to go home, or to move in with a sibling, an uncle, a cousin. The family is the safety net, and in Vietnam, that net is strong.
Reason 2. Community fills the gaps the family can't.
What happens when someone doesn't have family, or their family can't help? Vietnam has a dense network of community support that most outsiders don't see. Buddhist pagodas across the country run free meal programs called Kerm Tu Tien, charitable rice. Walk past any major pagoda in Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi around lunchtime, and you'll see lines of elderly people, day laborers, and low-income workers eating for free. Neighborhood associations, organized at the ward level, track vulnerable residents and connect them with local support. These are not formal government programs. They're just neighbors watching out for neighbors. This one is practical. In Vietnam, the cost of basic survival is very low. A full meal at a local Com Binh Dan, a simple rice shop, costs 25,000 to 40,000 dong a month, roughly $1 to $1.50. A room in a shared house in an outer district of Ho Chi Minh City can be rented for 1.5 to 2 million dong a month, roughly $60 to $80. A used motorbike, which doubles as a source of income through ride delivery apps, can be bought for under $200. For someone who has hit rock bottom in Vietnam, the floor is much closer to the ground than it is in New York or London. Surviving on very little is possible here in a way that it simply isn't in higher-cost countries. Vietnam's government runs a system of social welfare centers called Social Protection Center that take in people who are found sleeping rough, especially the elderly, disabled, or mentally ill. Cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi periodically bring homeless individuals to these facilities for housing, meals, and basic medical care. The government also runs housing support programs for poor households, Nhà Tình Thương, or Houses of Compassion, where communities and local governments pool funds to build or repair homes for families who have none. In 2025 and 2026, the government distributed billions of dong in support to low-income households and social welfare recipients across the country. Is it enough? Not always. The facilities are often crowded, the support is inconsistent between provinces, and mental health care is still severely underfunded. But the policy intention, and often the outcome, is that visible homelessness is actively managed, not ignored.
Here's the part that's important to say clearly. The low visibility of homelessness in Vietnam doesn't mean poverty is solved. There are millions of migrant workers living in cramped, poorly ventilated rooms in industrial zones, technically housed, but not far from the edge. There are elderly people in rural areas with no income, surviving on whatever their children send back each month. There are people with mental illness who fall through every net, family, community, and government, and end up on the street anyway. You'll see them if you look. And the family safety net, while strong, comes with pressure. The obligation to take in a struggling relative is real, but so is the financial strain it creates on the family that takes them in. The system works, but it works by placing the burden on families and communities rather than on the state, and that burden isn't always easy to carry.
Vietnam doesn't have a homelessness crisis the way some Western countries do. The reasons aren't complicated. Strong family bonds, community networks, low cost of living, and active government policy all work together to keep people off the street. But it's worth understanding what that actually means. Not just that Vietnam has solved something, but that it's distributing the problem differently. Families absorb what the state doesn't. That's not necessarily worse. In many ways, it's stronger. But it's also not the same as having no poverty at all. If you found this useful, subscribe. Next video covers what life actually costs in Vietnam in 2026. Rent, food, transport, everything. I'll link it here.